little bit of peace. We still have a long road to go. We'll get there because we are family.
A step toward justice tonight, more than 6 years after 8 members of the Rhoden family were killed. One of the suspects was convicted. Thank you for joining us tonight for NBC4 at 11. I'm Colleen Marshall.
And I'm Carrie Charles. A jury found George Wagner IV guilty on 22 counts, including aggravated murder. NBC4's Jonathan Jackson was at the courthouse as the verdict was read and has more on what the victim's family and prosecutors are saying about the outcome.
The largest murder trial in Ohio's history has come to an end, with George Wagner IV being found guilty on all counts in the murders of the Rhoden family in 2016.
We, the jury, find beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant, George Washington Wagner IV, is guilty of aggravated murder as charged in count 1 of the indictment.
On their first day of deliberation, the jury reached a guilty verdict on all 22 counts in the murder trial of George Wagner IV. In an emotional moment that several members of the Rhoden family have been waiting to hear for years.
I would like to thank the citizens of the state of Ohio for bearing this burden that should have never happened to this family in Southern Ohio.
While outside the courthouse steps, the Rhoden family expressed their gratitude for all of the support from law enforcement, prosecutors, and the Pike County community in reaching today's verdict after more than 3 months of testimony in this trial.
It was very frustrating, but you have to believe.
Meanwhile, the prosecution shared their reaction to the many days and weeks spent fighting in this trial.
Justice was done. Again, they heard the voices of our 8 victims today. The jury listened. They understood.
During a press conference, Pike County Prosecutor Rob Junk thanked the jury, investigators, and the governor's office for their support. But he credited the Rhoden family most of all.
We could never, ever, ever bring them back. But I can tell you that, good Lord willing, George Wagner IV will never be in a position to hurt anyone ever again.
Although convicted, George Wagner IV will not face the death penalty due to the judge's dismissal of that. However, a sentencing for George Wagner will take place at a later date in December. Local for you in Pike County, I'm Jonathan Jackson, NBC4.
On April 22nd, 2016, the Rhodens, Christopher Sr., Frankie, Dana Lynn, Gary, Hannah Mae, Kenneth, and Christopher Jr., along with Hannah Gilley, were all found dead around their 4 homes. Autopsy reports later showed all 8 victims were shot multiple times in the head. Years went by with no formal arrest or major leads in the case. In June 2017, then Attorney General Mike DeWine issued a public inquiry about Billy, Angela, George, and Jake Wagner, who were believed to be living in Alaska at the time. In November 2018, the Wagners were arrested. Investigators said the motive behind the killings was a custody dispute over Hannah Rhoden's and Jake Wagner's then 2-year-old daughter. And for years, the Wagners denied any involvement in the massacre. But April 21st, 2021, Jake Wagner pleaded guilty to 23 counts, including 8 for aggravated murder. A few months later, Angela Wagner pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit aggravated murder, burglary, and tampering with evidence. Both Angela and Jake, who are mother and son, testified against George during his trial, a key part of the prosecution's case. Now, the case against Billy Wagner has yet to go to trial. Right now, it's unclear how today's verdicts could affect that case.
Governor DeWine also spoke today about the verdict in the case of George Wagner. He says after 6 long years, he hopes that the victim's family can find some solace in the outcome of this trial.
The verdict that the jury in Pike County handed down just an hour ago does not bring the 8 victims back. And I really don't believe in a tragedy such as this there's anything such as closure. But today the Rhoden and the Gilley families can take some comfort in knowing that George Wagner has been convicted and that he will be punished, as will his brother Jake and his mother Angela.
NBC4 was the first and only station on air to bring you the verdict live as it was read. To see complete coverage of the trial and the events leading up to it, you can go to NBC4i.com. And to get news alerts about this story on your mobile device as it develops, download the NBC4 News app free in your app store.